You won't believe the feature in the backyard of this beautiful model home here in the Reflections, Nocatee's newest and last community. In just a minute, we're gonna check out this beautiful Dostie Homes built floor plan, the Clearly floor plan, which is in, like I said, the Reflections, which is in Nocatee, the premier community to live in and move to here in Northeast Florida due to its location and its schools. So with that being said, let's go and check out this amazing floor plan now and that beautiful feature in the backyard that I mentioned as well. So let's look at it now. All right, so now we're gonna check out the Clearly floor plan. This is a custom floor plan that was designed by Dostie Homes. And Dostie Homes is a local builder to Northeast Florida, and they specialize in not just their construction, but also their attention to detail, and the fact that because they're not a huge national builder, they do a lot to make sure that the experience is what you want to be like. But first thing before we walk in, again, you have a nice big front porch to be able to sit, enjoy a nice, warm day or cool day, depending on the day. We do come in, we have this nice big opening. We have a 9-foot door. They have the full glass here. And with this full glass door, it's kind of epitomizes what Nocatee is all about, which is that openness, that personability that people have with each other, to where it really is a family-friendly area and where people really tend to grow their bonds further and further. Now that being said, as we're coming to the front of the house, you're gonna notice here we have an open office here. Now this floor plan is a 4-bedroom, 4.5 bath floor plan with this office that could be converted to a 5th bedroom if you so desired. So that's something you can do with the builder if you want, but with this model, they left it as the office. They do have some nice built-ins here, and they even did, using the drywall, they almost created some drywall beams up top to create a bit of a design element there, which I think just really kind of texturizes the space and really makes it more of a focal point for people when they come in. We also have these beautiful wood floors throughout the first floor. These wood floors, they really make the home feel warm. They do a great job of just blending very well with the other color choices that the builder chose. We also have smooth walls here. That's something I just want to kind of highlight as well. And we have our half bath. So this half bath is great for guests. And a couple of things I love about what they do with this space is they actually give you some separation between the toilet and the sink. So that way almost a little bit more privacy. You also do get some wood trim in here that they did just to kind of add like a banister to the space. And even something as simple as the quartz countertops they did here, if we want to focus in on that, some of the highlights where they actually had the quartz carved out and curved like that just really makes the look of it feel a lot more high-end and a lot more custom, because you don't see that across the board with most of the builders around here. So I love seeing that with Dostie. And obviously from there, we're gonna then head to the kitchen and living room of the house. So you're not gonna miss that. And past the kitchen is actually gonna be the primary bedroom, which again is beautiful. So make sure you stay till that so we can see that as well. But on the way to the kitchen living room, we do have our door-to-our 2-car garage, which has the ability to become a 3-car tandem garage, because these are gonna be on 50-foot wide lots, which are not gonna allow you to have the 3-car across, but you could still have a 3-car with the tandem. They did a nice little mudroom area here so you can sit down, take your shoes off, hang your backpacks, for your kids, for school. So then, and you have some storage up top as well. And then we have our laundry room. So the laundry room is a very standard laundry room. We have our washer dryer. They did a great job of adding additional cabinetry up top, to be able to show you what you can do with the space. They still give you the quartz countertops and cabinetry down below. And they give you your sink as well, so that way if you need to do any sort of washing of the clothes in the sink, you can do that as well. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention too that all the doors in this house are gonna be your 9-foot tall doors. So it just does highlight just how big of a space it is when you have 9-foot tall doors, and then you do have 11-foot tall ceilings with this house. So next up's gonna be our living and dining and kitchen. So for the living, dining, kitchen, as you can see when you come in here, it really opens up on you. I love when builders do this, where they open up the floor plan for the trifecta of the house, or the meat and potatoes, however you want to call it, you know, the living, dining, and kitchen, because it really just makes it very central. It makes it very great for entertaining. And they did some things too here that I love, like the wood beams, as well as the built-in around the TV, to just really epitomize the space, really make it stand out, really make it another focal point of the house. That way when you have guests over, you know, this is where your guests are gonna wanna hang out with you. And then for the dining room, we do have a very well-sized dining room here. You know, they do have a 6-seater table here. You probably could do an 8-seater as well. The only thing you wanna be careful of is if you go bigger than 8, you know, you might start to kind of bleed into that kitchen, so you wanna be careful of that. And I also wanna highlight too up here is they did a tray ceiling. So if you've watched some other videos, you'll know I love these tray ceilings. Even though you have 11-foot ceilings with this space, to have that tray to make it a 12-foot ceiling makes a huge difference. So that is something that I love when I see that, because it just makes the space feel much larger and much more open for not just you, but also your audience or your guests. Then we get to our kitchen. So the kitchen here is gonna be, you have an island to start off with. This island, you have quartz countertops. They do a nice big deep sink here. They also give you kind of a two-tone cabinets, not kind of, but definitely. So your island, you have the darker colored cabinets. It's all soft close, really beautiful look. For the exterior, they're gonna give you the lighter color cabinets, still soft close. They highlighted it with some of that gold hardware, which with this gold hardware, there's definitely an upgrade, but something you can definitely do with the builder if you desire, or after the fact. Then we have our massive vent over our gas stovetop, and it just really gives it a very clean, very high-end look, and shows, gives it more of a gourmet feel with the way that it's designed. And obviously with the stovetop, as I mentioned in previous videos, Nocatee is a gas community. So if you buy Nocatee, you're gonna have gas. And it's one of those things that ultimately, if you ever cooked with gas, that's definitely where you want to kind of, you always want to keep, gas appliances for that reason, because you get used to it. But also, the reason I bring it up is not every community in Northeast Florida has gas for it. So the fact that Nocatee has that is awesome. We then have our built-in microwave down below, built by Sharp. Then we have our awesome double ovens here. So if you love to cook, this is a floor plan. This is a layout of the floor plan you can do to really maximize your ability to cook. Just something that really gives you a lot to work with there. And then another cool little feature I like that Dossie's did, they actually gave you some open cabinetry here. So if you're someone who likes to show off some of your different kitchen items, different pots, different pans, plates, whatever the case may be, this is a great way you can do that to really not make it straight, in the forefront, put it right in people's faces, so to speak. But when people do come in the kitchen, they can see that, and really does, highlight the space even further. We do have our fridge as well. We have our pantry with custom storage for the pantry. I always love when builders do that as well. Something that I always would highly recommend, because it just has a nicer look. It's one of those things you could do the typical open, metal storage, but that's just such a nicer, cleaner look when you do the wood. All right, now we're now gonna head to the primary bedroom, but don't forget, we still have the second floor to look at as well. And the second floor, again, has 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a really cool, game room, as well as a really cool kind of like loft, to be able to do, if you have kids, do homework. So you're not gonna wanna miss that as well. As far as the primary though, the primary is gonna be on the first floor. A lot of times builders will do the primary on the first floor because that's where in this area people tend to want to have the primary. Some builders will give you some floor plans with the option for a second floor primary, but what I can tell you with this primary, gets tons of natural light, as you can see. We have plenty of windows off the back here. We have the tray ceiling to, again, add more height to make it more open. They did the wood inlay with the tray. They gave us some crown molding, the recessed lighting. So really, they made this, again, the third focal point in this house. They really wanted to make this house a house to be able to entertain, to be able to highlight, to be able to maybe even say, hey, my house is better than yours. But that being said, another thing I do want to point out over here is that they did include a door out to your back porch. That is one of those things that for a floor plan, a home like this, where you have a beautiful, feature out there, you may see in the video. I don't want to give it away just yet. You'll see that a little bit later in the video. But to be able to go use that feature out there, having that door is a huge bonus to have that in your primary bedroom as well. In the primary bathroom, we do have a pocket door right here, so it doesn't take up as much space, allows you to still get a good feel of the space in the primary. But in this primary, we're gonna have our shower as well as a tub, which I like when the builder does that, because in today's world, sometimes you wanna have a shower only, but sometimes having that tub there when it's separate like that does make it almost like a centerpiece of the space, and definitely does make it like a highlight to be able to show people if you ever wanna kind of show them what the floor plan of the house. You give them the tour. As far as the shower though, I love what they did here. They did the tile up to the ceilings. You do get the windows in here to add plenty more natural light. You have recessed lights in here. You have the crown molding in here. And I love that there's no door here. In a lot of our videos, a lot of times the builders will enclose it with glass all the way around. Well, with this builder, with what they did with this floor plan, they actually left it open. Now, part of the reason they can do that is because they use a specific shower head, to almost like a rain head, to just go straight down so the water's not gonna kick out. But at the same time, the reason I like that is it keeps the space open. It keeps it to where you can just walk in, walk out. You're not worrying about doors, opening and closing, having to figure out how to, if it's gonna close in or close out, whatever the case may be, or open out. And even though it's open, because they put this step down in here, it's still gonna keep all the water in here. So that's a huge piece too, because you don't want water getting kicked out to the rest of your bathroom. You do even have a little bit of a seat there where you can store not toiletries, but your soaps, your shampoos, or if you just need to sit down. Hey, sometimes you just need to sit down, you just never know. As far as for the vanity, they do give us a nice large vanity. You do get the double sinks, plenty of cabinetry in here, which they matched with the kitchen, soft close throughout as well. They even did some wood elements on the wall, which I love. And then we have our linen closet on one side. And then on the other side, we have our water closet. So I always love when the builders do this. Some people will say maybe it'll be a little too claustrophobic because there's no window in there, but I do love when it's separated like that. So that way, if you have multiple occupants using the bathroom at the same time, one's showering, one's getting ready, they're not always gonna necessarily run into each other. And then we have our primary closet. So I don't normally get this excited about closets, but honestly, with a closet this size, it's hard not to. So when you come in, you have this first area of the closet right away. And as you can see, they did some wood, storage options for it. But not only do you have that first section, but you also have this wraparound section. So this is where it gets kind of cool. You can never have too much storage, especially in your primary bedroom. So to have all this room for clothes, for bags, for suitcases, that part is awesome. But guess what? You still get even a little bit more underneath the stairwell. I love when builders use the whole stairwell down here. And again, to even have this area down here for, again, your suitcases, your bags, you could actually do like a built-in for your shoes. That's just a very cool aspect that you don't always get with a lot of these homes. And the reason they were able to do this was because of the fact that it's a 2-story floor plan, but it also does highlight that they have really, truly utilized each and every space of the house that they had access to. So from there though, that does kind of finish up the first floor. So now let's go ahead and check out the second floor, which includes, like I said, 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a game room, and a loft. So let's go look at that now. All right, so now we are heading upstairs of this Clary floor plan. Again, they continue that wood on the stairwell all the way up, so it's the same wood as what we had on the first floor. And then when we come up to the second floor, we actually come up to a very inviting space. Now, what do you mean? What does it mean when I say inviting space? Well, what I mean is it's just a very big open area here for this loft. The builder, Dosty Homes, they did a great job, again, with that tray ceiling. Again, I love those trays. So the tray ceiling here, they actually included some drywall beams across just to kind of break up the space. Really does give it a more defined look. And then if you're watching this, you have kids, and you're thinking about moving to Nocatee because of how great the schools are, and you probably love what they did here with this quartz countertop, built-in cabinets, truly a great workstation to where the kids could actually, do their homework, read for school, whatever they need to do up here, while also having the ability to still, have some, play some games as well, take a little bit of breaks here and there, because that's always important as well. So really, it just kind of highlights just how, it kind of shows and highlights just how big of a space this is, because this clearly floor plan, as previously mentioned, it's a 4-bedroom, it's a 4.5 bath floor plan. It has that office downstairs that you can make it a 5th bedroom. And at 2,900 square feet where it comes in at, it really is a great use of that space. And the next step is going to be our first of 3 bedrooms up here and bathrooms. So our first bedroom bathroom here, this is going to be our first bathroom, and they did a walk-in shower, which is a nice touch. They did tile up to the ceiling, which is great as well. They did almost like they did a checkerboard pattern with the white and the almost mint color. So it really kind of gives it a nice lighter colored look. They give you the quartz countertops in here with the white cabinets. We do see a transition hardware as we come now upstairs. Very typical with these models. Typically builders will do some different elements in different spaces to show you what they can do. And then this first bedroom, I don't know about you, but for me, I was actually talking about when I came into this room. This room it's beautiful. I mean, it really is. You have these extremely high ceilings up here. These are, I would assume these are actually probably about 14-foot ceilings. So it really does give you a ton of height, really does make this space feel just massive. And then having all those extra windows up top to go with these windows down below was a great design that the builder did on this to provide tons of natural light. If you're gonna have these high ceilings, you might as well have those windows to match it, which not only gives you the look from the outside, but it also provides all that great natural light. We do have our standard closet here. They do not do the bifolds, which I love, so it's actually the sliding doors here. Very much my preferred preference because it just has a nicer look. And then that's gonna take us out of that bedroom. We're now going to walk across the loft to our next bedroom. So this next bedroom has its own bathroom as well. It's kind of like a carbon copy to some degree. This bathroom's gonna be more of your standard bathroom. It's gonna have, again, quartz countertops. They went back to the darker colored wood cabinets. This is gonna be that shower tub combo with a more simple tile design, but still up to the ceiling, which again, I love to see in there. For this bedroom, same size, may feel smaller on camera because of the lack of ceiling height. These are gonna be back to our normal 10-foot ceilings. But for this bedroom, again, it's a good size. You still get some good natural light. Not nearly as much as the last one, but it does kind of highlight the difference between the two, which is always good to see. And then obviously we do have our same style closet with the doors, the slider doors, and again, your standard closet design. So from there, we're now gonna check out the 3rd bedroom. Again, bedrooms galore up here, but wait, there's more, because not just next to this 3rd bedroom, we also have our game room. So this game room you could use as another office, you could use as another bedroom. You have different things you can do with it. For them, they have it laid out as almost like a movie room. This is really a space that you could hang out with the family, watch movies. If you have kids that have friends, this could be their game room, as I mentioned. So it's a really good sized space with still plenty of natural light. We still have those 10-foot ceilings with the recessed lighting, and they include some wood trim with the banister that actually matches the color of the crown molding to really just kind of highlight the blues with this space, which blue is my favorite color, so I personally love that. Next to it's going to be our last bathroom up here. This bathroom is going to be a lot like the last one, so it's going to be a shower tub combo. A little different tile pattern, a little bit of the smaller squares, but offset, to really kind of give it a little bit nicer look. In this one too, they did the herringbone tile for the flooring. So again, something that is different. We have our quartz countertop and then almost like our sage green cabinets. So again, they really wanted to highlight every little thing you could do with them, which I love to see with a builder with their models, because it gives you a good idea of what you're walking into if you decide this is the builder I'm going to use. Lastly, this last bedroom, again, similar size as the other two, has a queen size bed in here, has the end tables, has the dresser, so you can tell it's a good size space if it can fit all of that. Still get your standard closet here, and then again, you do get plenty of windows as well for that natural light, and they did the recessed lighting in here as well. Probably because it's the model, but just to show that you could do it if you so desire. And then lastly, I'm going to show you something that, sometimes people would think maybe we shouldn't show. But the reason I'm going to show you this is because not every builder, not every floor plan with every builder will give you this. When you buy a house or when you own a house, whether if you have a lot of storage at first or if you don't, no matter what, you're always going to run out of storage. So it's nice when a builder actually has a space like this to be able to include where it's not conditioned space. This is not heated and cooled space, but it is additional square footage you could use to store anything you need to store. Gone are the days of having to go up to your attic where you really shouldn't store stuff to put stuff away for, the summer or the winter. Now you have this conditioned space off of your loft up here to be able to, again, store wherever you need to store. So I personally love that. It's one of those things, it's not the prettiest space out there like the rest of the house, but it's to highlight the fact that this builder Dostie definitely thought through a lot in how they designed this floor plan to really maximize it and really give you, the owner, the occupant, everything you really need to be able to live the life you want to live. Which includes, again, we wouldn't want to, we want to save the best for last, the feature in the backyard, which we are going to now check out. All right, so as I mentioned, saving the best for last, we are now checking out the backyard of this Dostie model home. So the first thing you're gonna see when we come out, we do have a nice big back porch. This is all covered underneath the same roof line, so you could always screen it in. It is under the same roof, so like I said, it has that going for it. It's not going to be a different material for your roof. That's a big piece that I like to always mention. They do already have it ready to go for a wall mount for a TV, so you can plug the TV in. You have power up there, and as I mentioned, like you have the door from the primary. You have the sliding glass doors from the living. You even have sliding glass doors from the dining. So you do have multiple different ways to get out here to your beautiful backyard. So with this backyard, they really maximize the space by adding an outdoor kitchen here. So we do have our kitchen sink, and I do want to highlight too, not only do we have this outdoor kitchen, but you may notice this roof, it's actually the same roof line as the rest of the house. Okay, this is not a detached, separate structure. This is actually still all under one roof. You have the ability, if you want to screen the whole thing, you really could. But anyways, I digress. We do have our granite countertops. We have our nice big sink to work with. You have storage down below. They give you the Coyote mini fridge. They give you your trash right here. And then you have your Coyote grill. So this Coyote grill is going to be ready to go for gas because it's a gas community. And Coyote seems to be the choice here in Nocatee. We also have this beautiful feature, this amazing feature, this wonderful feature. We have this really good sized pool with water feature and plenty of other things with it as well. So this pool, it is a very good size for this area. Pools in Nocatee are gonna be well worth it because of the fact that it does give you more enjoyment out of the house, but there's a cost. Most of these pools are gonna probably run you between 100 and 200,000, so do keep that in mind. But this pool, very well designed. You actually have a little hot tub area over here off to the side, along with a little sitting area. They built up the back wall to give you a little bit more privacy, also make it a little bit more safe for younger occupants. We have a nice tile, pool deck. And then what I really love, something I don't see very often, is they actually create a little walkway here with this other water feature. Very, very serene, very, very peaceful, very demure. But you have this ability to kind of walk to this little landing out here. So if you have kids, yeah, they're probably gonna wanna just, jump on in from here, so you have to kind of watch them for that. But this landing here, they put the Trex flooring up here. So this flooring never gets hot, it never splinters, it is the premier choice. And then they also add this little fire feature here. So you have that ability too, that on cooler days, if you wanna have some friends over, if you wanna have some chairs out here, if you wanna be able to have like a little fire pit going, you have that little fire feature area over here that will provide you enough heat to still be able to enjoy your backyard. Because again, you're living here in Nocatee, there's a reason you wanna move here, not just for the schools, but for the location. Nocatee is a very peaceful area, and a lot of that, like as you can see with the nature back here, is the fact that a lot of the acreage here in Nocatee, the developer kept as its natural state. So it really does give it a serene feeling. What the builder did here with this pool only adds to it. So something that I absolutely love seeing. And this house, this specific floor plan does start around that $800,000 range. It does go from there depending on upgrades and whatnot. But that's really gonna be kind of about it for the house for now. So we are now gonna dive into what Nocatee has to offer as far as a community, as well as what's around Nocatee and just why people are choosing Nocatee as the premier place to move to here in St. Johns County and Northeast Florida. So are you ready to hear more about what it means to live here in Nocatee, Florida? Great, because we are now gonna dive into more than just the house and the neighborhood, but also what all Nocatee has to offer and why it is the premier place for people to move to in the area because they want to live that Knock life. So this is a map of Nocatee. This is actually the area the developer created for homeowners, but also for potential new residents to kind of show you a little bit of what Nocatee has to offer, as well as things around it. So first thing I want to point out is, as you can see here, we are 2.5 miles to the Atlantic Ocean. So you are very close to the ocean, but you're not super close either, so good for insurance. But also, a very short drive to get there. You have Michael's Beach over there. You have Pond Beater Inn and Club, which, by the way, you actually get a reduced membership for if you want membership for it when you live in Nocatee. So you have multiple things you can go to over at the beach that's really close by. But as far as Nocatee in general, we do have some neighborhoods here that are still being built out, such as the Reflections at Seabrook, where we're at today. So the Reflections at Seabrook is one of the last, or the last community being built here in Nocatee. And the Reflections, they get their name because it's a reflection of where Nocatee started to where it is now. And so that was kind of the thought process for this neighborhood, was it's a reflection of the community as a whole. And therefore, that the name really does kind of speak to that. A couple things I do want to point out, and obviously, as you can see, we have a couple other neighborhoods around here: Coral Ridge at Seabrook, Palm Crest at Seabrook, Seabrook Village. Some of these have already been built out, some are still being built. So if you want to know more information about those, obviously you can give me a call or text, or you can send me an email. I will gladly answer any questions you have on those. We also have Crosswinds, we have Del Webb Nocatee, Woodland Park, West End, and even their high-end area, River Landing at 20 Mile, which is gonna be multi-million-dollar homes and a build on your own lot, which is something you don't see as much here in Nocatee. Most of the time here in Nocatee, you're more so having to pick a builder, then pick a lot. With River Landing, you have the budget for it. You actually have that ability to pick the lot and then find the builder afterwards. So a little bit of the opposite effect. Just to kind of point out a couple other things too, if we want to include all the sold out communities, there are a ton that we could mention. I'm not going to go into that too much in this video, but some of the bigger ones are going to be Freedom Landing, they're going to be Palmetto Cove, Franklin Square, pretty much anything 20 Mile up here. So overall, a lot of different neighborhoods you can choose from, whether if it's new construction or pre-existing, because a lot of these do have resales at this point as well. So now if we get rid of all the communities, the next thing I want to kind of highlight is the shopping. So the shopping they have here currently is not a ton local, but they still do give you a town center. The town center is going to have different options like Publix and Trailer Park, which is a restaurant, GNC, Jersey Mike's. So you do have some different options there. Really quaint little town center area right off of the main drag, right off Nocatee Parkway. You have Tijuana Flats. Obviously have to have a Starbucks. We have seems like we have Starbucks every corner here. So you do get those other options. They do have some additional stuff coming up, like the Chop House. That's gonna be a steakhouse, and it's a very upscale, high-end steakhouse to kind of go off of the area in general. You also do have a fire station down here. We have multiple dog parks around, so different things like that for sure. As far as the schools, next thing I want to kind of highlight is there are multiple schools in the area. So Ponte Vedra High School is actually one of the high schools in the area. However, Ponte Vedra High School is going to mainly be for people coming from Ponte Vedra Beach, which is not Nocatee. It's a little confusing sometimes, so I always like to bring it up, but it is technically in Nocatee. It's just if you do have a high school age kid, they're gonna go to Nice High School, which if you are watching this video and you're a big football fan, you may or you may not know, Nice High School is the home of Tim Tebow, who had a great college career at the University of Florida, had some stints in the NFL and even MLB baseball. So he's pretty well traveled, and he actually still calls Jacksonville and Northeast Florida his home to this day. So really good guy for the community, really kind of put Nice High School on the map. And Nice High School is a top high school for public schools here in the state of Florida. I cannot express that enough, but overall, Nice High School rates as a 10 out of 10 on greatschools.org. So obviously, everyone has different websites they like to look at when it comes to determining what they decide on for schools for their kids. But Great Schools is normally a good source to kind of get a good baseline idea of where the school stands in relation to other schools in the state, based off of reviews from parents, teachers, students, all that great stuff. Then we also have multiple elementary/middle schools. Most of them are going to be academies in here. And those are going to be your K through 8, such as Valley Ridge Academy. You also have down here, you have Pine Island Academy. And we even have a new one coming up, which is going to be finished in a couple years. And this new K through 8, most likely going to be academy, is actually going to be the one that's going to be zoned for the Reflections. So right now, Pine Island Academy is going to be your zoning for the Reflections, but there will be a new one in a couple years, depending on, again, which community you end up in. Will depend on the school, but for Reflections, where we're at today, looking at those Dostie homes, this will be the school for any kids in that neighborhood. We do also have some healthcare in the area. We have some different faith, different churches as well. There are some senior living. There's even some apartments. So if you are watching this and you're unsure if you want to make the full move to Nocatee right away, you do still have the apartments as well that you can rent at for a year or two if you need to determine, is this where I want to be long term? So definitely a lot of things to do in the area. You also have a lot of recreation and fitness. So the big thing about Nocatee is there's a lot of parks, there's a lot of amenity centers. There's smaller ones within each community. Seabrook Park actually has one themselves. So this actually just opened within the last year or so. And ultimately it is nice to have that within the community that you get access to for the Reflections. But if you do want to, enjoy the overall amenities that really make Nocatee what it is, we do have the Splash Water Park, where they have multiple, pools. They have a lazy river. They even have words escaping me, but there it is right there. They have a 377-foot zip line within it. So definitely a lot of cool things there that you have access to as being a part of just living in Nocatee. They also have a spray park, so if you have younger kids, they have a smaller version for them. Not so much pool-based, but they do have some pools in there. They do have the water slides, stuff like that. So it definitely gives you some alternatives as well if you want to just kind of test them both out. And then tons of trails throughout the area as well, which really does, like I said, make Nocatee what it is. So that's a little bit about Nocatee. Now, when we start to look at the area around Nocatee, you're going to notice a lot of things here. So Nocatee, like I said, is located in Northeast Florida. It is located in St. Johns County, so it's not technically Jacksonville, but for people who are from here, a lot of times we will reference it still as Jacksonville. It's just St. Johns County, Jacksonville. And this is going to put you within certain distances of some major attractions, as well as major cities, which I'm going to bring up now. So first things first is with Nocatee, we do have St. Augustine to the south, which is going to be about 30 minutes away. We do have Savannah, which is going to be about 2.5 hours to the north. We have Orlando, which is going to be about 2.5 hours to the southwest. And then we also have Miami, which is about 5 hours to the south. So you do have multiple different major cities you can go to with different attractions. They're not too far away from Nocatee. So that's the beauty of living here, is if you want to make a day trip to one of these cities, if you want to take a weekend trip to get away, you have that ability because everything is so close, but also far enough away to where you don't have to deal with the traffic of some of those cities like Orlando or Miami. As far as for shopping though, as you're gonna see here, we have multiple shopping locations. You have the outlets to the south, Durbin Park, which is actually a new area that's been around for a couple years now. It's a outdoor kind of town center, and it's a town center that is actually gonna be double the size of St. John's Town, so a town center when it's all said and done. And St. John's Town Center has really been the hub of the area for the last decade or so. So what they did is they created the Durbin Park Pavilion, which is a town center for St. Johns County, to limit the amount of traffic to St. John's Town Center. It is kind of interesting, St. John's Town Center, wouldn't you think that'd be in St. John's? I digress. But all that being said, this does give you about 10 minutes to 15 minutes away, closer avenue to be able to go shopping, restaurants, shops, whatever you need to really do there. They do have a lot over there, and they're constantly adding more. You do have some other malls like the Avenues Mall, which has been around for probably closer to almost 40 years now. Definitely it's an indoor mall, more of that standard old school kind of mall setup. Tons of restaurants and shops in there as well. And then we have our true kind of market center for Northeast Florida for Jackson, which is the St. John's Town Center. Like I said, this opened up probably 10, 15 years ago, and they have constantly added more and more restaurants and shops and stuff like that, and it really has become that central point of Jacksonville. For some cities, you always consider that central point the downtown area. For Jacksonville, we actually really consider the St. John's Town Center, even though it's not as central to, say, the west side or north side of Jacksonville, or even parts of St. Johns County. But that is typically where most people tend to want to gravitate towards because of everything it has to offer. And then recreation and fitness, I'm gonna just highlight a couple of these. I did mention the PV Lodge and Club. This is something that you do get access to as far as a discount membership as being a part of Nocatee due to the developer's relationship with the Lodge and Club. Great location if you're visiting to be able to get a good feel for the area, but also really enjoy your time there. It's right there on the ocean, beautiful venue, so I would highly suggest looking at it if you are coming to the area and you don't really know where to stay. We do have St. Augustine to the south, like I mentioned. You have the fort down there, you have Ripley's Believe It or Not. You also have St. George Street, which has tons of restaurants and shops as well. You do get the horse and carriages down there. Really cool to kind of touch, and really a lot of history down there. So if you're a history junkie like myself, there's gonna be plenty you can do down there, plenty of history you can learn. Because St. Augustine is the oldest city in Florida. I think actually it might be the oldest city in the whole US, just not the oldest for the United States. Back when Spain owned it, or had owned Florida, they obviously had that city well before we ever owned it ourselves, so to speak. But you do have that to the south. We do have downtown Jacksonville, where we are going to have the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're going to have the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, minor league baseball team, the Jacksonville Icemen. So you do have a lot of stuff down there as well. And then to the north, we do have the Jacksonville Zoo and Gardens. Really cool place. It's a private zoo, so honestly, there's a lot that they put into it. A lot of money goes into it to make it the best it can be for not just the animals, but also for us ourselves to be able to view it. And they really do have a great layout with how they designed the zoo, and they're constantly adding to it as well. So something that you really should check out when you're visiting here. Other than that, we do, if you pop up some more of the schools, it is going to kind of mention some of the schools that are kind of nearby, but the ones I want to touch on are, you do have the University of North Florida, which is a state college here. It is a constantly growing college, and ultimately does provide you a lot of options if you don't want to leave the city for school, if you have kids who are, close to graduation. We do have some other colleges like Florida State College of Jacks, which is actually a full 4-year college now. Used to be just a community college, but now they do give you more options. And you do have JU as well, which is a private college here on the river. So definitely some options there. Healthcare, we do have tons of options here. The biggest one I want to mention is Mayo Clinic. Cannot express this enough. Mayo Clinic does a phenomenal job here in our area, and we do get a lot of relocations to the area because of the Mayo Clinic. I've actually worked with countless people who have come here because of the fact that they would be going to Mayo. They have family going to Mayo. So definitely something I want to highlight because of just how good of a job they do. I have nurses I've worked with at Mayo for them to buy their own houses. So definitely cannot say enough good things about them. But you do have St. Vincent's, you have Shands, you do have the VA, UF Health. So you do have other options as well, but that's the one that tends to bring a lot of people to the area, to say the least. And then from there, we do just want to talk about military and airports. I'm going to skip arts and culture. I mean, we do have some, obviously tons of museums you can go to. St. Augustine Amphitheater is really cool for being able to see different bands. We do have an amphitheater downtown as well that does get a lot of good bands. We have the 5-Star Veterans Memorial Arena where the hockey team plays, but we do get a lot of good music there as well. So you have a lot of options to choose from for the music scene here, which is really, really good. As far as military, we do get a lot of relocations here for military as well because we do have 2 main naval station bases. We have Naval Air Station Jacksonville, or we call it NAS Jax for short, and we also have Mayport up near the opening to the ocean, where the jetties are at. And so you do have 2 different locations here that do bring a lot of people in. Mayport being on the east side of Jacksonville, whereas you have NAS Jax on the west side of Jacksonville. So definitely some options there. And then lastly, I just want to touch on the fact that we do have multiple airports, but the one that you're really going to want to use when you come here is Jacksonville International Airport. This airport is constantly growing. We are actually adding more to it as we speak. So really the cool thing about that is, you're coming to a city here, if you come to Northeast Florida, where it's not going to be as big as a Miami, a Tampa, a Orlando, but it's doing all the right things to still give you a lot of that without having to deal with the traffic, the congestion of people, the attraction, so to speak, if you don't want to live in a city with Disney World, for instance. But ultimately, it just does give you a lot of options there. And with the airport expanding, it's going to allow and provide for more international flights, more domestic flights. So great things to see there as well. Because again, when you're living here, it's not just about who's the builder going to be, what's the lot going to be. It's about also, why do I want to live here? And with Nocatee, there's so much around it, but there's also so much within it that makes it the place to be here in Northeast Florida. So with that being said, I will see you guys again on our next model home tour and community update for Nocatee, as well as we will be doing some other ones for other communities as well. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. And as I mentioned previously, but I'll mention again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call or text me, or you can email me. I'm going to always be here to help answer any questions you may have as far as it comes to living and moving here in Jacksonville, Northeast Florida. All right, that will do it for me. I'll see you guys next time.